Deep within the endless churning skies of a distant gas giant lies a mystery that defies all human understanding. A team of elite researchers ventures into this uncharted domain, seeking answers about life beyond Earth's boundaries. But what they find will challenge their courage, test their limits, and force them to confront the unknown. As monstrous storms rage and enigmatic beings drift through toxic mists, survival becomes more than just science, it becomes instinct. What secrets do these floating horrors hold? And can humanity truly survive where no one has gone before? Dive into the heart-pounding tale of Floating Horrors, Deadly Secrets of the Gas Giant Dash. Don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling adventures across the cosmos. The mission began as a triumph of human ingenuity, a bold step toward unraveling the mysteries of the universe. For decades, scientists had speculated about the possibility of life within the thick atmospheres of gas giants, but none had dared to venture so far. This time was different. Equipped with cutting-edge technology and shielded by state-of-the-art exosuits designed to withstand crushing pressures and toxic gases, the crew embarked on a journey into the swirling depths of Jovian 42, a colossal planet orbiting a dying star at the edge of known space. Their vessel, named Immerse, resembled a sleek needle gliding through the void, its hull reinforced with layers of carbon nanotube composites. It descended cautiously into the uppermost cloud layer, sensors scanning every molecule of hydrogen, helium, ammonia, and methane. The ship's artificial intelligence hummed softly, analyzing data streams too complex for any single human mind to process. Outside, the view was mesmerizing. Endless waves of orange, gold, and violet clouds stretched as far as the eye could see, illuminated by flashes of lightning from deep below. Yet beneath the beauty lay danger. Meteorological models predicted unpredictable weather patterns capable of tearing apart even the sturdiest spacecraft. Turbulent winds exceeding speeds of 500 kilometers per hour howled like banshees, threatening to drag Immerse deeper into the abyss. Still, the team pressed onward, driven by curiosity and ambition. They were not merely explorers, they were pioneers stepping into the great unknown, ready to face whatever awaited them. As the ship descended further, the crew marveled at the sheer scale of the planet's atmospheric phenomena. Towering thunderclouds rose like mountains, their peaks lost in the haze of perpetual storms. Lightning danced across the horizon in arcs miles long, illuminating vast regions of the sky with blinding brilliance. Each flash revealed fleeting glimpses of shadowy forms moving through the clouds, shapes too large and too fluid to be mere illusions. Were these natural formations, or something else entirely? The anticipation aboard Immerse was palpable. Every sensor reading, every visual observation, brought them closer to answering questions that had haunted humanity for centuries. Could life exist in such an inhospitable environment? If so, what form would it take? The possibilities were endless, and the crew knew they stood on the brink of discovery or disaster. With each passing moment, the line between wonder and peril grew thinner, setting the stage for an expedition that would redefine humanity's place in the cosmos. As Immerse penetrated further into the dense atmosphere, the first signs of life appeared. Tiny motes of light flickered amidst the clouds, resembling fireflies dancing in slow motion. At first glance, they seemed innocuous, mere particles carried aloft by thermal currents. However, closer inspection revealed something extraordinary. These luminous specks pulsed rhythmically, emitting faint electromagnetic signals that resonated with the ship's instruments. Each pulse corresponded to subtle changes in atmospheric pressure, suggesting some form of communication or coordination. The team deployed drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and spectroscopic analyzers to investigate further. The machines darted between the glowing entities, capturing images and samples. Initial analysis confirmed the presence of organic compounds, amino acids, lipids, and nucleic acids, all essential building blocks of life. But there was something else, something inexplicable. Embedded within the molecular structure of these organisms were traces of metallic elements arranged in repeating geometric patterns. Was it natural selection at work, or evidence of intelligent design? Excitement rippled through the crew. Could these floating microbes represent the dawn of extraterrestrial biology? Or were they merely precursors to something greater lurking below? Questions swirled in their minds as they prepared to descend deeper into the gaseous depths, eager to uncover the truth hidden within the tempestuous skies of Jovian 42. As the drones continued their scans, they detected movement on a larger scale. Groups of organisms began to coalesce, forming intricate patterns that shifted and reformed with uncanny precision. It was as if they were responding to some unseen signal, coordinating their actions in ways that defied explanation. The crew watched in awe as these formations grew in complexity, eventually taking on shapes that resembled constellations mapped across the night sky. The implications were staggering. If these organisms possessed even rudimentary intelligence, then the potential for interaction or conflict became a very real possibility. The team debated whether to attempt communication, but caution prevailed. Until they understood more about these beings, any direct contact could prove catastrophic. Instead, they focused on gathering data, hoping to piece together the puzzle one fragment at a time. Meanwhile, the environment around them grew increasingly hostile. Winds intensified, buffeting Ethris with forces that tested the limits of its structural integrity. Lightning strikes became more frequent, their deafening cracks reverberating through the ship's hull. Yet amidst the chaos, the crew remained resolute. They knew they were witnessing something unprecedented, a glimpse into a world that had existed untouched by human hands for eons. Whatever lay ahead, they were determined to see it through. The descent grew increasingly perilous as Ethris plunged into lower altitudes. Here, the air thickened, becoming a viscous soup of chemicals that strained the ship's filtration systems. Visibility dropped dramatically, forcing reliance on radar and sonar arrays to navigate. Lightning strikes now came frequently, illuminating the interior of the craft with blinding flashes. Static electricity crackled across the hull, creating eerie auroras that danced in sync with the chaos outside. Despite the hazards, the crew remained undeterred. Their resolve was bolstered by the discovery of larger organisms drifting lazily through the haze. These creatures bore little resemblance to anything found on Earth. Translucent membranes stretched taut over skeletal frameworks made of crystalline material, catching updrafts like sails. Some sported appendages resembling tentacles, tipped with bioluminescent bulbs that pulsed in intricate patterns. Others possessed delicate wings adorned with fractal designs, shimmering iridescently under strobing bursts of lightning. Each specimen observed exhibited behaviors indicating sentience, or at least rudimentary intelligence. When approached, they would retreat gracefully, avoiding contact without displaying aggression. Yet there was an undeniable sense of purpose in their movements, as if guided by instincts honed over millennia. Were they solitary wanderers, or part of a vast ecosystem teeming with undiscovered wonders? The thought sent shivers down spines, mingling fear with exhilaration. As the crew continued their observations, they noticed peculiar interactions between species. Some organisms emitted low-frequency vibrations that resonated through the surrounding gas, seemingly attracting others of their kind. These gatherings often resulted in synchronized displays of light and motion, creating breathtaking spectacles that left the crew in stunned silence. It was as though these beings were engaging in rituals or ceremonies, communicating through a language beyond human comprehension. But not all encounters were peaceful. Occasionally, smaller creatures would be ambushed by larger predators, their translucent bodies dissolving into mist as they were consumed. The violence was swift and efficient, leaving no trace behind. Such moments served as stark reminders of the harsh realities governing this alien world. Life here operated according to rules vastly different from those familiar to Earth, where adaptation and survival took precedence over cooperation and harmony. Amidst these revelations, the crew began to question their own role in this fragile ecosystem. By intruding upon this world, were they disrupting delicate balances forged over millions of years? Or was their presence inconsequential, a mere blip in the grand tapestry of existence unfolding before them? The answers eluded them, but the weight of responsibility settled heavily upon their shoulders. Every action, every decision, carried consequences that could ripple outward in ways they couldn't yet imagine. Further exploration unveiled ecosystems unlike anything imagined. Entire colonies of floating organisms congregated in stable zones created by converging wind currents. These regions acted as oases amid the turbulent seas of gas, providing shelter and resources necessary for survival. Within these havens, symbiotic relationships flourished. Smaller creatures clung to the undersides of larger ones, feeding off waste products expelled during metabolic processes. In turn, the hosts benefited from protection offered by their diminutive companions, who emitted deterrent chemicals warding off predators. But not all interactions proved harmonious. Predatory species lurked among the peaceful inhabitants, their forms streamlined for speed and precision. Armed with razor-sharp mandibles and venomous barbs, they hunted relentlessly, targeting weaker members of the community. Chases unfolded in spectacular fashion, leaving trails of phosphorescent residue marking paths of pursuit. Once prey succumbed, scavengers moved in swiftly, dismantling remains with surgical efficiency. Observing such dynamics instilled both fascination and unease. Life here operated according to rules vastly different from those governing terrestrial ecosystems. Adaptability reigned supreme, favoring innovation over tradition. Traits considered advantageous elsewhere might prove detrimental here, leading to rapid evolutionary shifts unseen elsewhere in the galaxy. Such insights promised groundbreaking revelations for astrobiology, yet also hinted at darker truths waiting to be uncovered. One particular encounter left an indelible mark on the crew. While observing a group of smaller organisms clustered around a larger host, they witnessed a sudden shift in behavior. The host emitted a series of pulsating lights, causing its dependents to scatter in panic. Moments later, a massive predator emerged from the haze, its translucent body rippling with energy. It lunged forward, engulfing several fleeing creatures in one swift motion. The scene unfolded with horrifying efficiency, leaving the crew shaken and reflective. Such moments underscored the brutality of nature, even in environments as alien as this. Yet amidst the carnage, there was beauty, an intricate ballet of life and death played out against a backdrop of swirling clouds and flashing lightning. The crew realized they were witnessing a microcosm of the universe itself, a reminder of the delicate balance between creation and destruction that governed all things. The deeper the team descended, the more the environment began to shift in ways that defied their understanding. The atmospheric composition grew denser, almost gelatinous, and the temperature fluctuations became erratic, swinging wildly between extremes. Instruments aboard, Ethris, struggled to keep up, their readings oscillating between plausible data and nonsensical spikes. Static electricity crackled incessantly, creating an eerie hum that permeated every corner of the ship. It was as if the very fabric of this alien world resisted intrusion, pushing back against their presence with an almost sentient hostility. Despite these challenges, the crew pressed on, driven by the tantalizing discoveries they had already made. Among the larger organisms they encountered were creatures that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Their translucent bodies shimmered with iridescent hues, refracting light in ways that suggested internal structures far more complex than anything previously observed. Some of these beings emitted low-frequency vibrations that resonated through the surrounding gas, creating ripples that propagated outward like invisible waves. These vibrations appeared to influence the behavior of nearby organisms, triggering synchronized movements that hinted at a form of collective consciousness. The team hypothesized that these vibrations might serve as a primitive language, a means of communication among species that had evolved in complete isolation from terrestrial life. To test this theory, they deployed a series of specialized probes equipped with acoustic sensors capable of capturing and analyzing these signals. The results were both fascinating and unsettling. The patterns exhibited a level of complexity that suggested not only communication, but also problem-solving abilities. It was as though these creatures were engaging in discussions, debating strategies for survival in an ever-changing environment. Yet, amidst these revelations, danger loomed ever closer. The violent storms that had plagued their journey intensified, growing into massive cyclones that churned the atmosphere into chaos. Lightning strikes became so frequent that the crew could no longer track them individually. Instead, they formed a constant barrage of blinding flashes that illuminated the ship's interior with strobe-like intensity. The turbulence tested the structural integrity of Ethris Dash, forcing the crew to recalibrate stabilizers continuously. Each passing moment brought new challenges, yet the allure of discovery kept them rooted in their mission. As they navigated through one particularly fierce storm, the crew stumbled upon something extraordinary. Hidden within the eye of the cyclone was a region of relative calm, where the swirling clouds parted to reveal a vast expanse bathed in an ethereal glow. Suspended in this tranquil zone were clusters of floating structures, organic formations resembling coral reefs, but on a scale so immense it defied comprehension. These structures pulsed faintly, emitting a soft luminescence that cast an otherworldly light across the surrounding area. The discovery of the organic structures sent shockwaves through the crew. They resembled nothing found on Earth, combining elements of biology and geology in ways that blurred the line between living organisms and geological formations. Towering spires rose from the base of the structures, their surfaces adorned with intricate crystalline patterns that shimmered in the dim light. Between these spires stretched delicate membranes, pulsating rhythmically as though breathing. Embedded within these membranes were clusters of what appeared to be bioluminescent nodes, glowing softly in shades of blue, green, and purple. Initial scans revealed that these structures were not static entities, but dynamic systems teeming with activity. Microscopic organisms swarmed over their surfaces, feeding off chemical compounds released by the larger formations. These interactions created a symbiotic relationship, with the smaller organisms aiding in the breakdown of nutrients while providing essential elements required for the growth and maintenance of the structures themselves. It was a self-sustaining ecosystem, functioning with a precision that bordered on mechanical. But the most astonishing aspect of these structures was their apparent ability to manipulate energy. Embedded within the crystalline patterns were traces of exotic particles that emitted faint electromagnetic fields. These fields interacted with the surrounding atmosphere, creating localized zones of stability amidst the chaos of the gas giant's turbulent skies. The crew theorized that these structures might serve as anchors, stabilizing entire regions and allowing life to flourish in otherwise inhospitable conditions. Driven by curiosity, the team decided to investigate further. They deployed drones equipped with advanced sensors to gather samples from the structure's surfaces. As the drones approached, however, they triggered an unexpected response. The crystalline patterns began to shift, rearranging themselves into new configurations that emitted pulses of light in rapid succession. These pulses radiated outward, creating ripple effects that disrupted the drone's navigation systems, causing them to veer off course. The crew watched in awe and trepidation as the structures seemed to react to their presence. Was this evidence of intelligence, or merely a reflexive response to external stimuli? The implications were staggering. If these structures possessed even rudimentary awareness, then humanity had just crossed a threshold it had never anticipated: contact with a non-biological form of sentience. As the crew analyzed the data collected from the organic structures, they began to piece together a picture of a world far more complex than they had imagined. The structures appeared to function as hubs, connecting vast networks of floating organisms into a cohesive system. Energy flowed through these networks in patterns reminiscent of neural pathways, suggesting a decentralized form of intelligence distributed across multiple entities rather than concentrated in a single organism. This realization raised profound questions about the nature of consciousness. Could intelligence exist without a centralized brain? Could life evolve in such a way that individuality gave way to collectivism, with each entity contributing to a greater whole? The crew debated these ideas late into their shifts, their minds racing with possibilities that challenged the very foundations of astrobiology. Meanwhile, the environmental hazards continued to escalate. A sudden drop in atmospheric pressure caused violent updrafts that threatened to tear Etherius apart. The crew scrambled to adjust the ship's altitude, fighting against forces that seemed determined to drag them deeper into the planet's unforgiving depths. Lightning strikes grew more intense, their deafening cracks reverberating through the hull with bone-shaking force. For a brief moment, it felt as though the storm itself was alive, lashing out in anger at the intruders who dared to disturb its domain. Amidst this chaos, another revelation emerged. Sensors detected anomalous energy readings emanating from the core of the largest organic structure. These readings did not match any known natural phenomena, suggesting the presence of artificial components integrated seamlessly into the biological framework. Could these structures have been engineered or co-opted by intelligent beings? The possibility sent shivers down the crew's spines, igniting a mixture of excitement and dread. To investigate further, the team devised a daring plan. Using the ship's robotic arm, they extended a probe toward the heart of the structure, aiming to extract a sample of the anomalous material. As the probe made contact, a surge of energy coursed through the ship, causing lights to flicker and instruments to malfunction. For a terrifying instant, it seemed as though Etherius would lose power entirely. But just as suddenly as it began, the surge subsided, leaving the crew shaken but unharmed. When they examined the sample retrieved by the probe, they found something extraordinary. Embedded within the material were traces of metallic alloys unlike anything used in human technology. These alloys exhibited properties that suggested advanced engineering, capable of harnessing and redirecting energy on a molecular level. The implications were clear: whatever, or whoever, had created these structures possessed knowledge and capabilities far beyond humanity's current understanding. The discovery of the metallic alloys sparked heated debates among the crew. Some argued that the structures represented remnants of an ancient civilization, long extinct but still influencing the ecosystem around them. Others believed that indigenous species might have developed tools or technologies that allowed them to integrate artificial components into their biological systems. Either scenario carried monumental implications for humanity's place in the universe. While these discussions unfolded, the crew faced mounting challenges. The unpredictable weather patterns of Jovian 42 reached new levels of ferocity, with winds exceeding 600 kilometers per hour tearing through the atmosphere. Visibility dropped to near zero, forcing the crew to rely entirely on radar and sonar systems that were themselves struggling under the strain. Static interference rendered communications unreliable, isolating the crew from mission control and heightening their sense of vulnerability. In the midst of this turmoil, another startling observation came to light. The floating organisms that had initially seemed peaceful began exhibiting aggressive behaviors. Groups of creatures converged on Etherius, surrounding the ship in a tight formation that blocked all escape routes. Their luminous bodies pulsed in unison, creating a hypnotic display that filled the crew with a mix of wonder and unease. Were they being welcomed or warned? The situation escalated when several of the larger organisms began emitting high-frequency vibrations that resonated directly with the ship's hull. The resulting resonance caused structural stress, threatening to compromise the integrity of Etherius. The crew worked frantically to counteract the vibrations, deploying countermeasures designed to disrupt the frequency and stabilize the ship. After tense minutes that felt like hours, they succeeded in breaking free from the encircling organisms, retreating to safer altitudes. Though shaken, the crew couldn't ignore the significance of what had just occurred. The coordinated behavior of the organisms suggested a level of strategic thinking previously unseen. Had they misjudged these beings, dismissing them as mere curiosities rather than potential adversaries? The encounter left the crew questioning whether their presence was truly welcome, or if they had inadvertently provoked a reaction they didn't fully understand. With tensions running high, the crew regrouped to reassess their strategy. Continuing exploration posed significant risks, but abandoning the mission now felt unthinkable. Every setback brought renewed determination, driving the team forward despite mounting challenges. After all, wasn't overcoming adversity precisely why humanity ventured into space in the first place? Their next move involved deploying additional probes equipped with enhanced shielding to withstand the hostile environment. These probes were programmed to analyze the aggressive organism's behavior in greater detail, seeking patterns or triggers that might explain their sudden hostility. Data streamed back in real time, revealing fascinating insights. The organisms appear to respond to specific frequencies emitted by Etherius engines, mistaking them for territorial threats. This discovery offered a glimmer of hope. If they could modify the ship's emissions, perhaps they could avoid further confrontations. Simultaneously, the crew turned their attention back to the organic structures. Closer examination revealed additional layers of complexity. Within the crystalline patterns lay embedded circuits composed of materials that defied conventional classification. These circuits formed intricate networks resembling neural pathways, suggesting a form of computational processing occurring at a microscopic scale. Could these structures represent a hybrid form of life, blending biological and technological elements into a seamless whole? The implications were staggering. If true, then humanity had stumbled upon a paradigm-shifting discovery. Life forms capable of transcending traditional boundaries between organic and synthetic existence. Such beings would redefine our understanding of evolution, challenging the notion that biology and technology must remain separate domains. Armed with new insights, the crew adjusted their approach. Modifying ethers, engine emissions proved effective in reducing hostilities from the floating organisms, allowing the team to resume their exploration with fewer interruptions. However, the dangers posed by the gas giant's volatile weather remained ever-present. Storms continued to rage unpredictably, forcing the crew to adapt quickly to changing conditions. During one such storm, the crew witnessed a phenomenon that left them speechless. Lightning arcs converged at a single point, forming a massive vortex that spiraled upward into the atmosphere. At its center floated an enormous organism unlike anything they had seen before. Its body glowed with an incandescent brilliance, casting light across miles of cloud cover. Surrounding it were countless smaller organisms, orbiting in perfect synchrony as though drawn by some invisible force. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying, evoking feelings of reverence and insignificance. The crew recorded everything, knowing they were witnessing something profoundly unique. Yet, beneath the awe-inspiring spectacle lay a sobering realization. They were observing a world governed by rules utterly alien to their own. Survival here depended not on brute strength, but on adaptability, cooperation, and an innate understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. The crew's resolve was tested yet again as they ventured closer to the colossal organism at the heart of the vortex. Its incandescent glow illuminated the surrounding clouds, creating a surreal landscape that seemed almost dreamlike. The smaller organisms orbiting it moved with mechanical precision, their paths tracing intricate patterns in the air. It was as if they were part of a grand celestial dance, choreographed by forces beyond human comprehension. As Ethris approached, the team deployed their most advanced drones, equipped with sensors capable of detecting subtle changes in energy fields and biological activity. What they discovered defied explanation. The central organism emitted pulses of electromagnetic radiation that resonated with the crystalline structures embedded within the smaller creatures. These pulses appeared to synchronize not only the movements of the orbiting entities but also their internal processes, suggesting a form of control or perhaps communication that transcended traditional biological boundaries. The implications were staggering. If this organism served as a hub for an entire ecosystem, then its role extended far beyond mere survival. It seemed to act as a conductor, orchestrating the behaviors of countless other beings to maintain balance within the volatile environment of Jovian 42. Was this evidence of a collective intelligence operating on a planetary scale? Or something even more profound, a manifestation of life itself evolving into a higher state of existence? But the closer they came to understanding this phenomenon, the more perilous their situation became. The organism's presence disrupted the ship's instruments, causing erratic fluctuations in power and navigation systems. Static interference grew so intense that the crew could barely communicate with one another. Each attempt to gather data felt like walking a tightrope over an abyss, with failure threatening to plunge them into chaos. Despite these challenges, the crew pressed on, driven by the belief that unlocking the secrets of this world could unlock answers to questions humanity had asked for millennia. What is life? And what does it mean to exist? As they delved deeper into the mystery of the central organism, the crew uncovered evidence pointing to an even greater enigma. Scattered throughout the surrounding clouds were fragments of metallic debris, remnants of what appeared to be artificial constructs fused seamlessly with organic material. These hybrid artifacts bore no resemblance to anything created by human hands, yet their design suggested purposeful engineering. The discovery ignited fierce debates among the crew. Some argued that these remnants indicated the presence of an ancient civilization, one that had mastered the art of blending biology and technology before vanishing without a trace. Others believed the hybrids might represent the natural evolution of life on Jovian 42, where species had adapted to incorporate synthetic components into their bodies as a means of survival. To test these theories, the team conducted experiments using samples retrieved from both the central organism and the hybrid artifacts. Initial results revealed startling similarities between the two. Both contained traces of exotic particles capable of manipulating energy on a quantum level. This shared characteristic hinted at a common origin, or perhaps a symbiotic relationship spanning millions of years. Yet, as the crew pieced together these clues, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The floating organisms surrounding Etherius began to exhibit increasingly erratic behavior, darting unpredictably and emitting bursts of light that flooded the ship's sensors with conflicting data. It was as though the very fabric of the atmosphere was shifting around them, responding to their presence in ways they couldn't fully grasp. Tension mounted as the crew realized they might have triggered some kind of defensive mechanism. Were they intruding upon sacred ground? Or had they inadvertently awakened something best left undisturbed? The situation reached a breaking point when the central organism emitted a massive pulse of energy that rippled outward, engulfing everything in its path. The shockwave struck Etherius with devastating force, causing critical systems to fail and plunging the crew into darkness. For several agonizing minutes, the ship drifted helplessly, battered by violent winds and buffeted by lightning strikes that illuminated the interior with strobe-like flashes. When backup systems finally came online, the crew found themselves disoriented and shaken. Instruments flickered back to life, revealing catastrophic damage to key components. Worse still, the storm outside had intensified, transforming into a maelstrom of swirling clouds and deafening thunder. Lightning arcs converged at unpredictable intervals, creating blinding explosions that lit up the horizon. Amidst the chaos, the crew noticed something extraordinary. The central organism had begun to change, its incandescent glow dimming as dark tendrils spread across its surface. These tendrils pulsed with a sinister energy, radiating waves of disruption that destabilized the surrounding environment. Smaller organisms fled in panic, abandoning their synchronized orbits and scattering in all directions. Was the organism dying or evolving? The crew debated whether to retreat or press forward, knowing that either choice carried immense risks. In the end, curiosity won out. They recalibrated their remaining equipment and launched a final probe toward the organism, hoping to capture one last set of readings before it was too late. What they discovered sent chills down their spines. The organism's core contained traces of self-replicating nanotechnology, an alien AI designed to integrate with biological systems and enhance their capabilities. This revelation raised terrifying possibilities. Had the organism been engineered as a weapon? Or was it simply adapting to survive in an ever-changing world? With time running out, the crew made the difficult decision to abandon their exploration and return to safer altitudes. The ship's damaged systems required immediate repairs, and the escalating dangers posed by the central organism left little room for error. As Etherius ascended through the turbulent skies, the crew reflected on the magnitude of what they had witnessed. They had encountered life forms unlike anything imagined, blending biology and technology in ways that challenged the very definition of existence. They had glimpsed the workings of a vast, interconnected ecosystem governed by principles far removed from those familiar to Earth. And they had faced the raw power of nature untamed, reminding them of their own fragility in the face of cosmic forces. Yet, amidst the uncertainty, there was hope. The knowledge gained during their journey would pave the way for future expeditions, inspiring generations of scientists and explorers to push the boundaries of human understanding. The lessons learned on Jovian 42 would shape humanity's approach to space exploration for decades to come. As the ship broke free from the gas giant's atmosphere and emerged into the cold void of space, the crew cast one final glance at the swirling planet below. It was a world of wonder and terror, beauty and danger, a testament to the boundless creativity of the universe. Though they left it behind, its mysteries would linger in their minds forever, fueling dreams of discovery and sparking questions that might never be answered. Back on Earth, the crew's findings sparked a revolution in scientific thought. The data collected from Jovian 42 provided irrefutable evidence of life existing in environments previously deemed uninhabitable. Researchers marveled at the adaptability of organisms capable of thriving amidst crushing pressures and toxic gases, while philosophers pondered the implications of encountering intelligence that transcended traditional definitions of consciousness. The hybrid artifacts recovered from the gas giant opened new frontiers in materials science, leading to breakthroughs in energy storage, propulsion, and medical technologies. Meanwhile, the discovery of self-replicating nanotechnology within the central organism raised ethical concerns about humanity's readiness to engage with such advanced systems. Debates raged in academic circles and policy-making bodies, forcing society to confront uncomfortable truths about its place in the cosmos. For the crew of Ethris-, the experience was transformative. They returned home heroes, celebrated for their bravery and ingenuity. But beneath the accolades lay a deep sense of humility. They had stared into the abyss and seen wonders beyond imagining, but they had also glimpsed the limits of human knowledge and the fragility of their own existence. As they stood together, gazing at the stars, they knew their journey was far from over. Jovian 42 had revealed only a fraction of its secrets, leaving countless mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Somewhere out there, among the endless expanse of galaxies, lay worlds yet undiscovered, teeming with life and brimming with possibilities. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling adventures across the stars.